The state is deferring to Miss Garcia's recommendations regarding conservatorship and possession and access. The state's requesting that child support be set at guideline based on Mr. Smith's job of $640 per month. The state, it did take into account the fact that Mr. Smith just recently had another child, so the calculation was done with one child in the order and two children out of the order. The state's requesting zero medical support, and that Miss Hood be continue to carry the child on TRICARE, and asking that the retroactive support that was done in the temporary order stay in the same amount, but perhaps lower the repayment rate, since we'll be introducing an actual child support obligation at this time.
Right. Mr. Lopez.
Yes, Your Honor. Here on behalf of Ms. Hood, we are asking for the court to approve the recommendation of Ms. Garcia. What my client wants is to be primary without geographic restriction. She is active duty military and can PCS at any time. And in fact, she is going to PCS in the coming months. So she would like primary with no geographic restriction. She is fine with Mr. Smith having a standard possession order. Since she will be PCSing out of state, we would ask for standard long distance travel provisions to be put in the order, just so there's no dispute later on as to, you know, who pays for what. That way everything is pretty clear in the order, and we're asking for Mr. Smith to pay guideline child support, finish up paying his retroactive, which we concur with the state that it can be a lower amount, since in the last order you didn't order child support, just the retroactive, so it's marginally higher than I think it usually would be. And that is it, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Garcia.
Yes, Your Honor. I've done home visits on both homes. I've spoken to both parents at length. I've looked into some concerns that were raised by the father, and then I've done all those. I've seen the child, laid eyes on the child, and all those things. And my recommendation today, having done all that investigation, is that the parties be named joint managing conservators, with the mother designating primary, no geo restriction. Do believe the father should have standard possession or expanded standard possession as much as he can. I know that he wants to be involved. And I think he's a good dad, so I think it would be good for the child to have his father really involved in his life. Guideline child support. I do agree with Mr. Lopez's request for the standard long distance travel provisions to be in place, just to kind of help them along with how that's supposed to work, since the mother will be moving to Georgia. And then also I would be requesting provisions in the order detailing that if the mother is, I guess, sent off somewhere by the military where she cannot take the child for an extended period of time, that the child stay with the father for that time.
All right, thank you all very much. Let's go and get some testimony from the parties. And again, Mr. Smith, if you wish to make a closing statement, a closing argument at the end of the hearing, I'll allow you to do that, sir. But right now, we're just going to go ahead and get your general testimony, and we'll take it from there. So at this time, Mr. Smith, Ms. Hood, please unmute yourselves and raise your right hands. You both solemnly swear or affirm your testimony is going to give your days the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you.
I do.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you both very much. And I'll let the state call their first witness at this time. Or the state wish to defer?
The state will defer. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, then. I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and let Mr. Lopez call his first witness, please. Thank you.
I call Ms. Hood.
All right, Ms. Hood, state your full name for the record, please, ma'am.
Tajela Hood.
All right, thank you. You may proceed, Mr. Lopez.
Could you state your name for the record?
Tajela Hood.
And Ms. Hood, you, who is your, you're the mother of a child?
Yes.
What is your child's name?
Carter Hood.
How old is Carter?
1 years old.
So still a little baby, right?
Yes.
He's resided with you ever since birth.
Yes.
And how is he doing developmentally?
He's doing outstanding. He's beyond his age group, so that's
Wonderful.
good.
Since these orders been put in place, you and Mr. Smith have been co-parenting,
Yes.
and it got off to a bit of a rocky start, but you guys are getting into a better flow of things.
Yes.
You are active duty military,
Yes.
and are you, will you have a permanent change in station anytime soon?
Yes, I'll be PCS into Fort Stewart.
And obviously you want to take your child with you.
Yes.
You think that would be in the best interest of your child?
Yes.
You don't want to keep your child for Mr. Smith?
Not at all. I would like for him to spend equal amount of time with his dad.
Right. And you met with the guardian ad litem, is that right?
Yes.
And you heard her recommendation just a few moments ago.
Correct.
Do you agree with her recommendation?
Yes.
Are you asking for the court to award Mr. Smith a standard possession order?
Can you clarify?
Yeah, so the standard possession order is what is in place in your temporary orders. Are you asking essentially for the court to keep that going?
Yes, I think the way things are now is perfect.
And obviously you're going to be moving more than 100 miles away. So there are provisions for over 100 miles for a standard possession order. And you would like to keep those going.
Yes.
Like Miss Garcia said, if you were to deploy out of country for a certain amount of time, would you be comfortable with Mr. Smith having possession of your child while you're gone, and then when you return, you take primary possession again?
Yes, as long as communication is very open and thorough.
And you're asking Mr. Smith to pay guideline child support,
Yes.
and you're asking for long distance travel provisions since you'll be out of state. That way, everything is cleared up, and you guys aren't ever questioning who has to pay for what or anything like that.
Right.
I know there was some concerns and allegations at earlier hearings about, you know, your house or the well-being of Carter. Do you believe that those allegations were, I guess, not founded in actuality? Everything's going pretty good with you and Carter?
Yes, everything's great.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much. Your witness, Ms. Garcia.
Ma'am, one thing that I think I left out of my opening there that I wanted to ask you about is previously when you were in court, I believe you testified or mentioned that there had been some conflict between yourself and Mr. Smith's wife.
Correct.
Had that occurred at an exchange early on of the child?
Yes.
Okay. Since then, has there been any confrontations or conflicts or problems between you and her?
No.
However, at this, do you believe, has she been coming to the exchanges?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. Do you believe that if she comes to the exchanges that could be a potential for conflict, or are you guys okay at this point?
I have no idea. Things have been going good. I just would rather her not be present.
Okay. Do you believe that if she is present, there's a potential that something may be said and there may be some conflict?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to avoid that happening in front of the child?
Yes.
Okay. You have a family care plan with the military?
Correct.
And in that family care plan, does that outline Does that outline anything with regard to the father, or is he included in it, in other words?
So my family care plan generally states who has guardianship of my child if I was to deploy or if I was to go anywhere, particularly that I cannot take him with me or that I'll be gone for a certain amount of time. That is where my family care plan comes into place. On my family care plan is his godmother and my mother. I did ask his dad to sign it. He refused, but I do have an upcoming family care plan that I have to renew. So, I will, get with his father about that one. And then once I PCS, I will have to do another one, and his dad will be considered my long-term family care plan.
Okay, so I guess you're saying you asked Mr. Smith to sign the previous one and he did not want to sign it?
Correct.
Okay, but you will be correcting that and adding him as the long-term placement coming up, correct?
Right. Correct.
Do you know when that will be, that you'll have to redo it?
As soon as possible.
Okay, so you can request it to be changed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I pass the witness.
All right, Miss Hubbard.
Miss Hood, do you still have Carter on your TRICARE insurance?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you okay if it's included in the order that you continue to cover him for medical and dental?
That's fine.
Okay. Is there any extra charge that you're incurring for the dental support?
It'll just come out of my check, so it's really nothing more. Like, it's taken care of.
Okay. Mhm. And I think, I'm just going to ask you just to be sure. There was a prior flag on this case that said that perhaps in the past, and it sounds like there was some conflict, but it's been resolved, but that you and Mr. Smith or you and someone else have had issues with harassment, harm, actual physical abuse. Are you asking that your address and phone number be kept out of this order due to that, to make sure that no one tracks you down through this order?
No, it's fine. He needs to have it so we can keep open communication. So I have no issue with that.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Lopez, anything on redirect, sir?
No, no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, any other questions, Ms. Garcia?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Lopez, do you wish to call another witness at this time?
I'll call Mr. Smith.
All right, Mr. Smith, please state your full name for the record, sir.
Stephen George Smith.
All right, you may proceed, Mr. Lopez.
All right, Mr. Smith, where do you currently work?
I currently work at Samsung Semiconductor in Austin, sir.
Okay, all right. And how much do you make there?
I make 26 an hour, sir.
Okay. And do you work 40 hours?
Yes, sir.
Do you get any bonuses?
I get a yearly bonus, sir.
How much usually is that?
I'm not sure, sir. This is my first time working with them. I haven't reached a year yet.
Okay. And do you have any other sources of income?
Yes, sir. The National Guard, which I work with 1 weekend a month.
Okay.
But my contract is set to expire in July, sir.
Okay. And how much have you been making a month on that?
Roughly around $300, sir.
Do you have any other children besides Carter?
Yes, sir. 2.
Okay. And they are not with Miss Hood, correct?
No.
You guys have been exercising visitation per this temporary orders, is that right?
Yes, sir. As well a few extra days.
Okay. So the standard possession order, as it's listed, has been working, and you guys have been working outside of the order to agree to other days, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you guys, kind of like I mentioned with Miss Hood, started out a little bit rough on the co-parenting, but you guys are in a good swing of things now.
Yes, sir.
And Miss Hood is an active military, and she is PCSing, and she doesn't really have control over that. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Would you be okay with the standard possession order being kept the way it is?
No, sir.
And what are your concerns?
My concern as far as her being here now, I would like on maybe up until she leaves that it's 50-50 custody, just so I can get more time with him before he leaves. And I know being active duty, prior to active duty, I know how it goes. Nothing is really promised. You can go to the field, you can go to a field training exercise, NTC, whatever it is. So I personally feel that it would be less pressure on her if I kept Carter here.
But this is just a 1-year-old baby, right?
Right.
So a lot of traveling back and forth probably isn't what's best for the child. Would you agree with that?
Traveling back and forth between Texas and Georgia.
Yes.
Yes.
No further questions.
Sorry, Miss Garcia, you're a witness.
Mr. Smith, when you and I visited, I think I kind of told you what my recommendation would be, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, are you in agreement with that recommendation, or are you still asking the court for primary?
I would still ask the court for primary, but I understand if it can be granted, ma'am.
Okay, so you are still asking the court for primary today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what are your concerns with the mother? Why is she not appropriate for primary?
For primary, active duties is a lot of work, ma'am. As I said, that I personally think that Carter being with me, he spends more time with me because active duty, you're never promised to go home. You never know what time you get off. So he's gonna be in the daycare from 5 a.m. in the morning to maybe 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. So with me, he's always home. You know, I wouldn't have to worry about the daycare, which he's always sick at. As far as safety, he's safe in my home, man.
Okay, but you also work full-time outside the home, correct?
Right, ma'am. So my schedule is Monday to Thursday.
Mhm.
So Monday to Thursday, I'm off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but my schedule is set to change once they're finished with the new building they're building. So I would get more days at home.
Mhm. But you still have to work, so there's gonna be hours and days where the child is not with you as well, just like it would be with the mother, correct?
Right.
Okay,
But
okay. So you said safety. What is your safety concern?
safety concern, as far as my main concern was the daycare, that he was getting sick at the daycare. Other parents bring their kids to daycare, and even if they're sick, they still bring them. So my son is at risk of getting sick. You know, nobody's gonna say my child is sick, I'm gonna stay home. They're gonna bring him to the daycare. With me, he doesn't go to daycare, man.
Okay, but that's not the mother's safety concern. You're saying you don't like daycare. My question was more so, you said you had safety concerns and you should be primary. What is your safety concern about the mother?
Now I don't have a safety concern as far as she goes, man.
Okay. And the child has resided with her primarily its whole life up to now, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I pass the witness.
Mr. Smith, when we started this case, you were active duty military, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've since then left the services and you're just reserves right now?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are looking to end your contract in July?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As far as non-disclosure, I know you had indicated a need for your address and phone number to be kept out of the order. Do you still feel that's appropriate to either have Miss Hood not know where you live or a third party?
At the moment, since she is going to be PCSing, I would like to decline that service now, as far as keeping my address away.
Okay, so it's okay if we put your address in here. It's okay if she knows where you live,
Yes, ma'am.
and you don't feel like there's any danger that of what has happened in the past going forward.
No, ma'am.
Okay. I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Lopez, anything on redirect, sir?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Garcia?
No, Your Honor.
All right, this time, Mr. Lopez, well, I think I know the answer to this. Any other witnesses, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Garcia, any witnesses you wish to call or recall?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Hubbard?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Smith? Any witnesses, sir?
No, Your Honor.
All right, this time I'll go ahead and entertain closing statements, and I'll start with you, Mr. Smith, give you the opportunity to tell the court and the closing argument, sir, why you should get what you requested me to do here today, and then I'll go to Mr. Lopez, to the Litem, and then to Ms. Hubbard. Thank you. And you don't have to make a closing statement unless you want to, sir. I know what you're asking for. I know what your requests are, but you can make a closing statement if you wish, sir.
Your Honor, I just ask that hopefully for the time being, if you do go with the choice of her being a primary care parent, that until she leaves, I at least get 50-50 custody, so I can see him every week until he goes. And there were two concerns that I had, Your Honor, as far as I'm not sure if now is the time to bring it up, but I had received a letter from, I think,
Okay, his deal,
Mr.
sir. Okay, his deal, sir. That's kind of testimony. This right now is argument that you were asked earlier by the lawyers whether or not you had specifics about the mom or something, and you did not testify to that, sir. So you can't bring it. You cannot open it. You cannot bring that in a closing argument when you cannot be cross-examined on that, sir. Sorry.
Your Honor, so no closing statement then, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. All right, then, Mr. Lopez.
Yes, Your Honor. In my opening statement, I stated what my client would want, and I believe the testimony has backed that up. The child has been with Miss Hood since the child was born. I think that the child is still only one. I believe it's in the best interest of the child for him to continue to reside where he has primarily resided, which is with Miss Hood. She's active duty military, so she will be PCSing soon to Georgia. There have been temporary orders in place where there's been a standard possession order, and it sounds like that has been working out pretty good for the parties, and they testified that they have also agreed to days outside of the order, which is a good indication of both co-parenting and the willingness of Ms. Hood and Mr. Smith to allow Carter to spend as much time with dad as possible. I don't believe putting a quote-unquote 50-50 possession schedule in the meantime is necessary. I believe the parties are already doing what they can for Carter to see his dad. I think it would be in the best interest to keep the standard possession order as is. And like I said, she will be leaving more than 100 miles, so standard possession order will have provisions for that. We are just asking for standard long distance travel provisions to be added, since Ms. Hood is liable to PCS in the future, again, to either somewhere farther or closer after she goes to Georgia. We're asking for Mr. Smith to be put on guideline child support. He has testified that he works at a semiconductor plant and how much he makes. And again, for him to finish paying is retroactive, but lessen the monthly payment amount so that it's a bit more manageable once child support gets put on. And that is our request, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Garcia.
Yes, Your Honor. When I visited with the father, he had outlined some concerns about the mother. He indicated that he had concerns about the state of the mother's home and whether it was clean or not. He had concerns about the child having the sniffles frequently, I guess because of daycare and things of that nature. And he also had some concerns about the mother moving to Georgia and not having any support system for herself or for the child. And then he also expressed some concerns about some pictures that he had seen of the child where it seemed that he was unbuckled in the vehicle or seemed to have the child safety seat not properly, I guess, tied into the vehicle seat or whatever. So I spoke with him at length about those things. I investigated those concerns. I visited the mother's home. I visited the father's home. In the father's home, absolutely no concerns. Beautiful house, lots of room, nice and spacious. They seem to have a nice accommodation for all of the children, no concerns there. When I visited the mother's home, there was also no concerns. There didn't seem to be any safety concerns. Nothing was dirty or unkempt or piled up or anything of that nature. The home was fine. The child had nice accommodations. He had his own room. He seemed healthy and happy. He was sleeping at some point when I went in there and laid eyes on him. Don't have any concerns of that nature. With regard to the pictures that the father had concerns about, it would seem that those pictures, there's no proof that the child was actually in a moving vehicle with that unbuckled. I spoke to the father about that. We both, agreed that they may have been just a picture with the child sitting in the chair. There was no proof that the vehicle was actually moving with the child unbuckled. I asked the mother. She indicated they were just pictures, that she wanted to send the dad some pictures, and she had put him in the chair. So I didn't really have any concerns there that the child had been in any danger. The child hasn't had any accidents or any CPS involvement. Child's been residing with the mother continuously since birth. I think the mother is able to provide a safe and suitable, healthy environment for the child, and I don't see any legal reason why I should recommend to the court that he be moved. I think both parents are excellent parents. They both love the child. I think there were some issues with co-parenting, and I think at this point, a lot of those issues have been resolved, and that's a good thing. And as far as the additional time that Mr. Smith is requesting, I'll leave that to the discretion of the court before the child leaves. But I would say that I do think that even if the court does not order that, I think the mom and him can work something out. So I'm just reiterating, I'm asking the court I'm recommending to the court that I believe it's in the best interest of the child that they be named joint managing conservators. Mom stay primary, no geo restriction. Expanded SPO or SPO for the father as much time as he can get with the child would be great. Guideline child support, that if for any reason the mother is gone and cannot take the child for an extended period of time, that the dad get the child. And then the long distance travel provisions I think would be beneficial as well.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hubbard.
Your Honor, the state summarized the order that I took the notes from Miss Garcia and Mr. Lopez. Just as an overall joint managing conservatorship with mom having primary, no geographic restriction, standard possession order, long distance travel provisions, Mr. Smith to have the first right of refusal if the duty station doesn't allow for children. Miss Hood would like Mr. Smith's wife not to be exchanged at the exchanges. Miss Hood would change her family care plan for the military to make sure that Mr. Smith was the primary person that the child went to. Calculations for guideline child support was based on 1 child in, 2 children out. The gross for each month was lost it. $4,775.04. Guideline child support at that rate would be $640. Miss Hood is not asking for any compensation for medical support, so she would continue to provide medical support and dental support through TRICARE. Mr. Smith would pay $0 for that. Retroactive support would remain in the amount of $3,629.67. And I believe that either $50 or whatever the court suggests would be appropriate so that we can lower that payment some. And then neither party is asking for non-disclosure at this time. The only question that I have, Your Honor, that I'd like you to decide on that has not been brought up is, I believe, that the retroactive support was done up until June of last year, because that's when our temporary order was done. And I'm not sure when Your Honor would want to consider starting the child support proper, if you would like to include those months since the temporary order, or if you would just like to start it on February 1st.
Well, I'm looking at starting it on February 1st. I think that doing it somewhere else is probably going to be more problems and going to make more problems than it's going to solve. So yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else then, Miss Hubbard?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right then. Real quick, Miss Hood, when are you PCSing out, ma'am? When are you supposed to leave for Fort Stewart?
In April, the end of April, I'll be leaving. If not April, the beginning of May for sure, I'll be gone.
All right. All right. Good enough then. Thank you. All right, folks. Again, you know, sounds like y'all have things going a little bit better these days. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and name you both. I'm going to go with what the state and the parties are and the ad litem are requesting, and the obviously the attorney for the mother. I'm going to go ahead and name you both joint managed conservators. I'm going to give mom the right to domicile. That right's unrestricted. She's in the United States military. You're talking to a guy who had TRICARE until he's in his second year of law school. So yeah, I know how that works. Okay. So I know how the military kind of works. So that's the way that works. Anyway, and I'm going to go ahead and order guideline child support going forward. I'm going to go ahead and order mom to maintain the health insurance. I'm going to go ahead and give dad the standard extended visitation package. He lives more. It's Mr. Smith, do you live in Austin now, or are you still local?
I'm still looking at Copper Scope, Your Honor.
Oh, so you live in Cole. Okay, so I'll give you the extended visitation package. I was considering ordering a deviation from guideline child support to help with travel, but once mom moves, she's going to be responsible for 50% of the travel anyway. So that's the way. So I don't have to worry about that. You got half, she's got half. I'm going to go ahead and order that the extended visitation, like I say, extended visitation package, but also the long distance package will also be included as far as this matter is concerned. That's the details showing how the child should be exchanged and set up and pick up and dropped off based on long distance travel, and someday sooner or later by airplane or whatever. But the bottom line is I'll go ahead and put that in there. I'm going to go ahead and see, I'm going to go ahead and waive court costs. I'm going to go ahead and reduce the judgment, the retroactive child support order repayment of it going forward as of the first day of February at $50 a month, along with the standard child support that the court has previously ordered. I'm gonna go, at this time. I'm hoping because of the work thing and because of mom's travel and everything, I'm not gonna do anything dealing with not allowing the Mr. Smith's wife to help out with as far as pickup and drop off concerned. Hopefully these ladies have gotten grown a little bit. But the bottom line, he's married, she's in his life. That's the way it works. If this is a boyfriend-girlfriend situation, I would have no problem with it. But it's not. This is a spouse circumstance, so I'm going to go ahead and not put that in there. Once ma'am, that you do leave the state of Texas, or you do get your new duty assignment and you leave, I am going to order that on the every Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Time, which will be 5 p.m. Is it 5? It'll be 5 p.m. Yeah, no, an hour ahead, so it'll be 6 p.m. Central will be 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So 6 p.m. Central Time. I want to have dad have electronic visits with the child every Sunday at 6 p.m. our time. And obviously he's on 15 minutes, just depends on how entertained he feels at that moment. But the bottom line is I'll throw those in for mom leaves. And I think I pretty much covered everything. Anything else I left out?
Just confirming non-disclosure is not ordered.
I'm stay. I just love when that happens. So yeah, okay. All right. Anything else, folks?
Yes, Your Honor, I just wanted to clarify and make sure everybody's on the same page. When you talk about the extended standard possession, you're speaking of the standard possession order and not the extra time that the dad requested prior to mom leaving, correct?
Right, just the one code.
His monitor is lagging. I can't hear him anymore.
Your Honor, you were breaking up through most of that explanation.
Okay, I think it's working now. I've moved over to landline instead of Wi-Fi. Okay, so I'm on the cable, on the Cat 5e. So hopefully that'll work. It says it is. Anyway, I was trying to see if there's anything else I need to roll. Like again, I was giving him the extended visitation package based on the family code, not the 50/50. I was telling Mr. Smith that advanced family this year, there was a big long seminar on how Texas doesn't have 50/50. The legislature considered it again, and they said it's just too big, so we're not doing it. So that's what that's why there's no 50/50 in Texas. But the bottom line is, sir, like I said, you get the extended, and you and mom can have the come to agreements above and beyond. And of course, I will go ahead and grant you the first right of refusal. If mom cannot take the child on a duty station, then you'll get the first right to have to say you want the child to live with you during that time frame. And like I said before, I'll waive court costs and at this time and set up the package as requested by the state and the ad litem. Now, since I had to backtrack a little bit there, is there anything specifically that anyone needs on the record for me to rule at this time, please?
Your Honor, I do have two concerns.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. So earlier I received a letter from Mr. Lopez company stating that they asked me to pay the lawyer fee for.
I did not grant attorney fees, sir. That has to be a specific thing that I would do, and I did not grant attorney fees, sir.
Okay. And Your Honor, as far as the payments go, is there any way to maybe talk about the payments?
No, sir. Those are the amounts that were calculated based on Texas guidelines, sir. That's what the law requires me to look at and figure it out. What your child support is based on what you earned at your job, sir. I think you said $26 an hour, and you have two other children that are not before this court, and the amount of child support based on that circumstance, sir, is the $600 and some change. So that's what the court's obligated to order, sir.
Right, sir. Miss Hubbard stated that I make $47 a month, Your Honor, and I've personally never had 47. I know she said that's before taxes, but before taxes, Your Honor, I'm taking home maybe 1,900 with the 400 I was taking out.
Well, Miss Hubbard, that was based on his testimony of $26 an hour, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, correct, ma'am?
Your Honor, it was based on amounts supported to us for the past 6 months. We did not know what Mr. Smith's yearly bonus is, but he did say that he works overtime sometimes. And so I used the income that was actually reported, and we did not use the National Guard income since it would be ending in July, even though we had the right to.
All right, Mr. Smith, the state's explanation is your employer told them what you earned over the last 6 months, and that's what they based it on. You know, because of unemployment, they have to let the state of Texas know what you earned, sir, every quarter, and that's where that amount came from. Anything else, sir?
No, Your Honor.
All right, folks. Good luck to both of you, ma'am. Just hope everything works out in Fort Stewart. If you need to know the name and the phone number of the judge there, who does family law, just let me know, and I can give you the judge's name because I was in contact with him last month. So seems to be a nice guy. Anyway, I'll go ahead and allow the state to prepare that order and circulate it. If anything needs to be clarified, please let me know. But at this point, I'll go ahead and have the state prepare the order and circulate that to both the ad litem to Mr. Lopez and to Mr. Smith before it's sent over to me. Thank you all very much, and we're now officially off the record. Thank you.